Evening, boys.
Evening, Sally. Welcome to The Chatting, your local pubcast. I'm Rob.
I'm Kirk.
I'm Mark.
And I'm the other Mark. 3 pints, Sally. And what are you having?
Get me a couple of baby Guinnesses.
Cheers. I'll fetch 'em over.
Evening, boys.
Evening, Rob.
How are you all doing? All right?
All good. All good.
good.
I've got a question for you, Mark.
Go on. Me?
No, other one. So I believe you went to the Caravan and Motorhome show.
Yes.
And I believe that you were you've had it in your head for a while now about wanting a motorhome.
Yeah.
Did you buy one?
Did you buy one?
Is that?
We were so close. We were so close.
Was you?
There's so much on offer, isn't there?
And all I've done since we've come back is look at motorhomes. I must know every layout and every model of every caravan, motorhome, should I say,
Yeah.
You sound
for
like
the last
Rob.
20
You
years.
say don't
You
get
sound-
Rob started.
You sound like
Honestly.
Rob, though.
Just
Can I ask?
you know-
Sorry,
Go
can I
on.
ask you a question? I know you said you were close to buying one. Do I take that you were going there to go? Oh, I might buy one, or no intention?
no, just real. I mean, good to go anyway, just to
Yeah,
have a look
yeah,
around
yeah,
and
they're great.
have a day out sort of thing. But to get a feel for layouts,
That's all.
yeah, well, sort of getting
Yeah.
them and have a look.
But not
you know.
to buy one. That's what I'm saying. You didn't go there
not,
to
not
go.
with the intention, no. But just to go and talk to people,
Yep.
get a feel for them, see what's on the market, and but yeah, I'm not in the market for a new one. So that was probably why I wasn't. But when we were there, we were like, wow, this is nice.
So seriously then,
Yeah.
right? Because I know what I'm like. I mean, I'd have walked away with 2.
I know.
yeah.
So, but seriously, because when you say that you very nearly did, are you using that as a term of phrase, as in you was tempted but you knew you would never would, or was you actually starting to think to yourself?
I
might
reckon
do.
if Ellen would have said, "I think we should buy this," we'd have bought it.
Wow.
They're just
Wow.
very expensive.
I would have
aren't they?
taken no convincing whatsoever.
That's dangerous.
Now, we
isn't
didn't
it?
get into the conversation, oh, shall we? But if Ellen had said, I love this, I think we should have it, we'd have been
that
signing
would've
on
been
dotted line. And
You see,
what-
that's why my marriage is so dangerous, because Daisy literally, if I said, "Oh, that's nice," you go get it if you want,
Yeah.
and that's it. I take no, I take no
And these,
convincing.
and these are a lot of money,
yes.
aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, some of them, yes, a lot of money still, but a lot cheaper than what I thought they would be.
Yes.
So, don't get me wrong, there were some there that were over £200,000.
Wow.
And that were like, not going to afford one of them.
Well, the ones there that were over £2 million, but yeah,
were there?
yeah. The
Don't tell Mark.
Are you
He
talking
might-
about
he
that
might
big
consider it.
military truck Arctic thing?
Well, no,
that-
the two in the entrance. Where it depends which entrance you go in, but the two big. What do they call them now? They look like coaches.
Oh yes, yeah, I did. See,
Yeah.
like RVs.
Yes.
Yeah, Winnebago type things.
style
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
But no, we saw some that were the layout that we wanted, the sort of size and everything, and yes, a lot of money.
Yeah.
But you were talking £50,000-60,000, which in this it's not much more than some cars.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
And
Absolutely.
is it a motorhome that you like?
Yes.
The look of, not a camper.
Not
van?
a camper. No.
No,
We-
because some of the campers are incredible, aren't they?
That was the thing. We looked at some of these, and I've seen campers on the market and people that have done their own camper conversions and whatever. But this was the first time I'd really seen a cluster of them that had been commercially built.
Yeah.
And the amount of space they'd created inside were just like, wow. And I said to Ellen, what about this one? And they were gorgeous. And she said, if we got one of those, you would regret it, because one of the things that I want is something to have a bit of space inside to move around and whatever. And although they had room, it wasn't as spacious as what like a caravan, sort of motorhome.
This is what puts me off. So I do like the idea of a motorhome. There's a few things I don't like about them. The main thing being that when you arrived at your destination and you've unpacked everything, when you want to go anywhere, it's like
You've got to take it
right,
with you.
How do we go in here?
Yeah.
Unless you've got a spare vehicle on the back.
So
of
you
it or
see
whatever.
people towing little smart cars,
Yeah.
don't you? and
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah, you do.
But
Yeah.
the second thing is, it's just the space inside. I
Yeah.
really like the space that you get in a caravan, and I think while I'm this age and I don't mind towing and I don't mind for it, I'm fine. Whereas when you get older, at retirement age, and you can start going further afield, going over to France a lot, going to other places, I do think a motorhome is probably a bit more.
So what's the kind of price difference then between second down? Because I know they do hold the price quite well, don't they? Stuff like that.
they can do. So some of the ones that we've been looking at, I mean, you can get. You can still pay silly money second hand for
Yeah, of course,
a relatively new one, But you can pick up some really nice motorhomes for sort of 25, 30 grand, you know, and they.
And I suppose that's me being me, because you know how my brain works. Yeah. So is there a piece of you now that's going, right, if the brand new ones that you've seen that you really like are a bit more affordable than you thought they were? Because I know that in your head you kind of thought they were probably all out of reach. Is there a part of you now that's going, well, do we spend 30 grand on a second-hand one, or do we just think, well, sod it, let's go for it? And
no, I don't think I could settle buying a new one.
Right.
And this sounds ridiculous, and it's just like a really strange fear I've got. I'd be scared of it getting stolen. And I think the fact that it's new and shiny and everything else there's a chance of getting targeted more than perhaps one that we use.
So I always thought that motorhomes were more in the region of 35 to 40 second hand. So you've surprised me a little bit, because I thought there were a lot more.
You can buy them for 10 to 15 grand, but obviously very old, very basic and whatever.
This is the only thing that I see as the difference between a caravan and a motorhome, in that when we say about they hold the value pretty well, a caravan, it has no engine. So there's no mileage to it. You know, like you get to an age and you go, well, it's done 150,000, 200, 300,000 miles. Caravans even matter.
What you have to understand is people that do motorhoming don't drive them for thousands of miles a week.
No.
So you could look at buying one that's maybe 10, 15 years old, and it might have done 30,000 miles.
Yeah.
You know, so they do very little miles in, because people just
they're
take
not doing
them
it every week.
Exactly, they take them on holiday, don't they? And that's it. And they do.
I never thought of it like that. In all fairness, I've never certainly looked at the mileage of these things to go, actually, they do last longer than you think.
Yeah. So
I get that.
you will see some, like the A-class ones, where people might take them across, you know, Europe or whatever, and they might have got a lot more miles on, closer to 100,000, let's say, where people have travelled further and what.
It's all right, it's kilometres abroad.
Well, yeah. But yeah, so
unless we get a Spotify deal, then
absolutely. No, we're actively looking.
Yeah,
we're actively looking, and the thing that for me is, and I know there's a big debate out there, is I'm still seething at Labour voting down. You know, one of the things that I did agree with is that they were going to give everybody grandfather's rights, and so I'm limited to 3.5 ton without doing the class 1 course. But I've sort of come to the conclusion that I am going to be doing that. You know, probably at some point this year. You have to do it on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at certain places that I've made inquiries to. So it's just getting the time off work.
Did you see my video of the caravan and motorhome show?
I did. It was incredible.
Did
Rob.
you like it?
Really good. Yeah.
I've not seen it.
Have they not appointed you for next year to do it for them?
And you know, like I didn't even get. You know, like you expect a retweet or something from the caravan and motorhome show. Yeah. They didn't even nothing. And I don't think they put anything out from that week, regardless of the quality of what I put out. They didn't seem to put anything out, and I thought. Everyone I've asked have almost gone, it's great, but I know why it hasn't had many views, because it literally looks like a very good advert.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
I've not seen this video.
Yeah, so basically, I didn't go with this. I went on my own. Actually, I went with my dad and his wife. But I let them go off and do their own thing, because they've never been. So I went round and spoke to a few people, a few companies that I wanted to speak to. And I had my new little camera, my DJI Osmo pocket, and I just filmed bits. I didn't spend all day doing it. I just did little bits here and there, and I thought, how can I make this video that's different to how everyone else does it, walking around talking? So I just made a very short 40-second video, very fast paced, a lot of time lapses and stuff of the day, and it's only short.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, I enjoyed doing it, but it was the first time I filmed one day and I edited it the second day. It took me 12 hours.
And you dropped
solid.
it on the
and
third
I dropped
day.
it on that night. I literally got it done and dropped it that night. So it was on the second day.
Are you feeling okay? Have you got any nosebleeds? Are you okay?
No,
you sure
I had quite an headache after that day of editing, but yeah.
So we know what you've been up to, Mark, because
Yes.
you told us all about it in last week's episode. I think people might still be working their way through it.
Well, actually, you're asking questions. I've got a question for you.
Oh, okay.
Well, for all of us?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So, you know barn owls?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where did they used to sleep before we built barns?
Yeah.
Do they sleep?
You would think so.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
They
Where
sleep.
did they habitate before we built barns?
well, what came first? Barnes or Owls? I guess that's a good
I
question.
mean, it's a good question because I would imagine barns have been around for thousands of years. But
I mean, do you have an answer or
No.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
brilliant.
brilliant.
I don't know.
Are they called barn owls because of barns?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
probably.
Oh, you're sounding like Rob again.
I have got something to something that I was watching telly the other day, right? And have you ever seen these programs like Shop Smart, Save Money,
Yeah.
Eat Well for Less, and all these different things? There were one on it. It was called Shop Smart, Save Money.
Yeah.
I think I'm not sure what are they.
It's a couple of celebrities, and they talk about products, and they say, "Oh, well, you can use this," and like my air fryers, for example.
Oh, yeah.
They might say, "Oh, yeah, well, if you buy one of these, and you'll save money on your energy bills."
I
or
watch
you'll...
these sort of programs all the time.
Yeah. And anyway, there were one on the other day. Shop
You sound like me, Mark.
Shop Smart, Save Money, right? Yeah. And it started off, and they were talking about this. There were this family, and they were looking at irons. One of the products was an iron, right?
Yep.
Now, they got this iron, it was a steam iron, and it got a separate tank. And they were like pushing this. They were saying, "Oh, it's fantastic, this iron. It generates 200 grams of steam a minute." And I was like, "What? How on earth do you know that it generates 200 grams of steam a minute? How did they weigh it? Do you know what I mean? And who could possibly challenge it?"
So, surely, 200 grams of water is 200 grams of steam.
Is it?
Wow, is it not? Steam
Isn't
is
this about matter?
steam is vaporized water.
Yeah.
So
Which
if you've
means
got
it changes into a gas, which means it changes its state.
it forms into
It can't weigh the same because 200 grams of water would sit on the floor. 200 grams of steam
but-
doesn't.
no because
Unless they're saying that it empties the tank in a minute, and there's 200 grams of water in it.
I wouldn't have thought it'd empty in a minute because you'd be refilling the tank a lot, wouldn't you?
Every minute.
But no, because the tank is obviously bigger than holding 200 grams. But what I'm saying is, for them to get the calculus of it, you generating
Yeah.
200 grams a minute.
In my head, I can't help but not think it. To me, it almost seems obvious that 200 grams of water, once heated up, will turn to boiling point and vaporizes and becomes the same amount.
Anyway,
Wow.
back in the room. Shop Smart, Save Money.
This has all gone a bit scientific.
This iron was 299 quid.
Ooh.
Right?
Huh?
The family went, "Oh, that's a good price. Our last iron cost something like that." What? £299 for an iron?
Yeah, I think my last iron were about 200 quid.
Were it?
I know we were looking at irons not so
Are they
long back.
expensive irons?
So do
They
you know
can be,
do you-
but-
just
Depends what type you want.
a standard iron that has its own water
Yeah.
thing? They're upwards of £80 to £90 if you buy what would be deemed as a good one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this one,
I've
this
got
one has a
300 quid.
separate
I've
unit.
got a steam generator iron, so it comes with its own unit that
Yeah,
it
that-
sits
it's
on.
own-
Its own person that irons for you.
That's the one that Mark's talking about, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
got its own thing. Yeah, then they are expensive.
Right?
I mean, not that I use it because
Well,
I don't know anyone that irons anymore. So
yeah, that's what I won't buy
You
because I
mean-
don't
you
want
mean-
iron.
hang on, you mean you don't know anybody who irons? Don't you iron anymore?
no, my
Does-
work shirts. That's it.
Does Daisy not iron?
Nope.
Yeah, so you don't iron anything?
Daisy will go to as far as she won't buy an item of clothing if she thinks it's an item of clothing that would need ironing.
Okay. Well, that's a fair I mean, I don't know why we've not invented clothes that we don't need to iron yet.
Kirk's that rich that when he's worn it, he just throws it away and buys a new one.
No, because that's worse when it comes out of packet. That's
Yeah.
when it does need ironing.
It does when it comes from Shein, I can tell you.
So what you been up to, Rob?
What have I been up to? Well, I went to Caravan and Motorhome show.
Yeah.
Oh, and also...
With Mark or separately?
No,
'Cause you-
separately.
No,
No,
I didn't invite me.
Because you're not
You've
talking.
got tickets before me, you cheeky bugger. I actually went to... I say we went to London and watched MJ the Musical.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
You know he's dead. Is he dead? He's dead.
It wasn't MJ,
oh.
unfortunately. It was
Any good?
Absolutely fantastic.
Oh.
Because I stayed away from, obviously, if people don't know, listeners, I am a massive Michael Jackson fan. And I got told to kind of stay away from the Thriller live performance.
Yeah.
Yes, very good as a performance, but it's just a concert of his music, going through his albums and stuff.
I'm saying, I never saw it, but that's how
what
I
got told.
understood it.
So then when this was advertised out, MJ, because it's MJ the musical.
Yeah.
So is this more about his life?
Yeah, so to give a very loose premise of what it's about, it's set in 1993 during the rehearsal of the Dangerous tour.
Okay.
That's when it's set. So you're in rehearsals basically with Michael Jackson and his dancers and his producers and whatever else as they're getting ready to put this show on. And you kind of go through the whole what Michael Jackson wanted versus what the not the promoter, but the creator of the concert, I don't know what we call him.
Promoter.
What they were basically saying he could afford or what they could afford. And basically Michael Jackson was saying, no, I want more. To the point where he looked at, what do you call it, selling Neverland to put the concert on.
Wow.
It doesn't. You never realise how that came about because it never gets to that point. But then throughout this story, there's MTV are there, and I'm guessing this must have been true to some degree. That MTV were creating a documentary of the concert and the making of sort of thing, and that's how they tell the backstory of Michael Jackson's life. He talks to the producers of MTV on camera of his life story and how they seamlessly changed that stage from a rehearsal room to the Thriller dance routine. And many other iconic videos and scenes was just unbelievable. Like the way it went back to whatever it was, 70 odd, when Jackson 5 were there and his brothers, and there was 3 different Michael Jacksons that played him throughout his life, and they were all absolutely incredible. It was honestly just brilliant. I think there's a lot of, you could argue that the choices of songs they chose, I wouldn't have chose all them songs. I might have put this song in, I'd make sure that song was in, but they were choosing songs that told the story,
yeah, of course,
opposed to just, this is a good Michael Jackson song. Do you know what I mean?
So knowing how much of a Michael Jackson fan I am,
yeah,
and how critical I can be about stuff like this, would you suggest I go and watch it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll go and watch it.
I really do think you'd enjoy it. Yeah, you would.
Is it touring or is it just a London?
At the minute, it's in London, New York, Broadway. They've just released it in Australia
and Rotherham.
And the and I feel like there's another place in America that it's on. I think there's 4 of them at the minute, all in residency.
Right.
Yeah, but it's certainly not gone on tour yet. But no, it's.
And what music do they just do? Michael Jackson music, or is it some Jackson 5 stuff in it? Or
you're right there, Mark.
Because I wondered where you were going with that. Then.
No, Jackson 5. Yeah, they do
Jackson,
with a bit of Bing Crosby. Jackson 5.
And I don't always ask silly questions.
What?
And do they
Just
cover?
when you're awake.
Do they cover quite a lot of his mic, or is it just a particular album?
They covered quite a lot of the younger stuff as well as his newer stuff. What was really good was the guy who played his dad also played the producer of the Dangerous tour, and the way that he changed his character, he'd literally be talking as the producer, and then the scene would change in a very unique way where you hardly really recognise what was happening. And his dad had turned around, almost like he was wearing half a coat. So as he turned halfway around, all you saw was this different side to him, and his demeanour and everything changed. And it was like, wow. When he played his dad, he was very much like Denzel Washington. Mm-hmm. That's who he reminded me of. And then when he was the producer, I won't know who he was like, but just someone that was far different from what his dad was. And it was just incredible. That sort of acting style throughout the whole thing. It was really brilliant, yeah. So,
because I am looking forward to, obviously, the MJ film comes out this year.
Oh,
back
yeah.
end of this year. And I'm like, I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
But also apprehensive about it.
Yep.
You know, but one thing, the only kind of thing that I'm trying to remain positive about it is that when I look at the other films that they've done regarding when they did Freddie Mercury and Elton John.
Really good, aren't they?
And Whitney and stuff like that, that although they still cover the troubles, overall it's quite a positive it's almost like a celebration of who they are and the artists that they're doing. And I do believe it's from the same makers of Bohemian Rhapsody, the guys that have done MJ. So I'm looking forward to that.
Interestingly, have any of you watched the Amy Winehouse one, Back to Black?
Do you know? No. It's the only one I haven't seen, and I really want to see it.
I'll be honest with you, it wasn't one that I were like saying, I've got to watch this. But me and Ellen were sat the other night and we were like, well, just flicking through Netflix and Prime and whatever else, trying to find something to watch. And we were there and we were like, shall we?
Is it any good?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But I wanted to get, because I thought, and don't get me wrong, it's over 2 hours long, so it's not short, but it's meant to go from, she's an aspiring singer, to really famous, to dying very quickly.
Spoiler alert.
It almost like the, I don't know, there was almost like a middle bit missing, I thought.
Oh, well,
very good, and there was
Daisy's mum said exactly the same. When she said she watched it, she really enjoyed it, but she said exactly the same, Mark.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. It just felt as though there was stuff missing.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, there was stuff in it that I didn't know, and which I won't go into because I don't want to ruin it for anybody. But it just felt a little bit rushed.
Do you think it could have been on purpose, as if to show?
Because she didn't really do anything in the middle.
Because it went from that to that in a very quick space of time.
Perhaps because
and caught everyone off guard.
Perhaps.
And also a bit where you could say that element of her life is what she actually missed.
Yeah. I've not thought of that, actually. That's not a bad shout.
I tell you what I watched the other day, the Better Man, the Robbie Williams one. I think you've seen it. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I want to watch it.
I spoke about it.
Yeah, I know you told me you'd seen it.
Yeah.
And
Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. Both me and Dana watched it. We enjoyed it. Yeah. It was great.
Good, isn't it?
Really good.
It's something I do want to watch.
Yeah.
That.
It's quite a moving as well. And to be fair, he's again, without giving too much away, he's literally putting he's warts and all type of thing.
Yeah.
He's putting it straight out
Yeah.
there, which is a brave thing to do.
Not hiding. It doesn't appear like he's hiding anything,
No.
does it?
I mean, there's one thing, doing Amy Winehouse or Michael Jackson or Freddie, they're dead. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's not dead. So for him to
That's what I found so great about it, was that he was present on set. He was able to talk to the actor that played him in order to say, right, this is how I was feeling during this. He was able to tell them, because sometimes you do think with these biopics that there's certain scenes and the way that they're delivering them and working them, you think, how do you know? Because you weren't there.
Yeah.
No one was there.
It's like no
one was in that room. Only
those.
those two people know how that played out. Whereas in this instance, he was able to say, "This is exactly how it went down," and you genuinely feel like, "Yeah, I'm not being lied to here. I imagine that's exactly how it went down."
Yeah, I thought.
Did you like the fact that he was played by a monkey?
Yeah, I mean, it was.
I said played by a monkey. He was represented.
I mean, Aina struggled with it to begin with, saying, "Why is he a monkey?" And I couldn't really give her an answer. I think that's just how Robbie Williams sort of sees himself. I think, but I don't know why he was played by a monkey, but it works.
Yeah, I'm talking about flicking through Netflix and then Amazon Prime, should I say? Was I finally finished Mr. Beast games?
Oh yes,
I'm glad you've said it. Are we all up to date with it now? Are we all finished it?
Well, the only one I knew that hadn't was Mark, or certainly not up to date.
Yeah,
I'm up to date.
Yeah, me and Ellen binge watched it all.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant! So we can have the conversation.
Now, can I just ask you? You said you binge watched it. Is that because you wanted to, or you got into it and got, I need to watch all this all in one go?
You guys were saying, look, you need to watch it. We can talk about it on here. So I said, you know what? I'm going to watch it because we're going to talk about it on here.
Oh,
very true.
So yeah.
And
you start, Rob.
Okay.
Because I'm intrigued to see to what you think about it. So we're talking about the Beast games on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Mr. Beast.
Yeah, Mr. Beast. So firstly, I thought it was phenomenal television. I really did. I thought it was just outrageous. The money that was on offer, the spectacle of how big the show was, what the lengths they'd gone to create these sets and these pieces, sort of the ideas of the games that they were doing. And I think what really made me so invested was the psychology behind the games and what they were doing and how it was. I was like, oh my goodness me.
I completely agree with you, Rob. One of the things that I've said it before, and I know you guys take the mick out of me a little bit regarding some programs that I watch, but the main reason I watch some like reality TV shows and stuff like that is I'm intrigued about the psychology and how people behave. How they behave when they've got a camera on them, or how they behave when they forget they've got cameras on them, and especially around this mob mentality sort of thought. I've always found it incredibly insightful. So the fact that they've taken that and then added money, I think is absolutely pure genius. For me, and I know we'll talk about it a bit more, but just as a generalisation, I think it's one of the best types of program that it is. I mean, what would you class it as? A game show?
Game show,
or a
Yeah.
reality
Yeah, it's a
TV
game,
slash
yeah,
game show or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, it's a game show.
I think it's one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I wouldn't
would agree with
disagree. In a from
Yep.
a game show format, it was the best thing. Another thing that really impressed me was the editing. And the way that they edited certainly as it got further down the line, it was gripping. It was they were so good at doing it, and I was just like that final episode. I was sat there going, "This is amazing." The way they edited this, it's just fantastic, so good.
But that just stands for the way Mr. Beast has come up through YouTube and what he's done. He'll have obviously learned his craft over the years to what people want to watch and what they want to see, because his
And how to present it.
it, because his job from right back in the day has been to try and generate views. That's it. How do you generate views? You can't do that for so many years and be so successful at it. I do believe he is probably the most successful YouTuber.
Yeah.
You don't go through all that and not learn anything. And I think the fact that they've taken that format, I think Amazon Prime have been absolute genius, because I do believe Amazon Prime have been trying to find something to hang the hat on a little bit. Big production houses like Netflix and stuff like that have all got their own little things that they're known for and that they've knocked out the park. And I think they've landed on an absolute perler, because for me, it's just it ticks so many boxes once you've got used to the American contestants.
Yeah, it does take a little bit to start, doesn't it?
So I am very intrigued, though, to know what other Mark thinks of it.
Yeah, not me. You mean other Mark?
We'll come to you in a minute.
Yeah. Well, I think you know how I feel, but yeah.
I am very intrigued.
So scale, obviously, it's massive. I did see some technical flaws in it, which I'm sure you must have spotted.
Technical flaws?
There were some bits when he were talking and his mouth and stuff weren't in line with the...
Oh, like dubbed and the way...
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I weren't watching it for that, but there were a couple of things and I thought, I would not normally spot anything like that, but it was quite obvious.
I think it's probably the speed at which they're trying to create...
Probably, turn it
stuff,
round.
yeah.
Overall, I didn't like it.
Right, okay.
It made me feel really uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, that's a fair comment,
Okay.
that. Okay, but carry on. I'll come back
I'm going to say the reason he says that, Mark, is probably because of the psychological money aspect of it and the greed of it. Is that where you're going with this? Perhaps?
And I do also think that it's, although these people have signed up for it, they didn't know exactly what they'd signed up for, and I think there was an element of exploitation involved.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's one of those
by the program makers onto them.
Yeah,
Right, okay.
yeah. And there's one clip in particular that stands out, and it was from there onwards where I had to say, right, I'm watching this for the purpose because we're going to talk about it, rather than that I wanted to watch it because I thought.
So you would have stopped. You would have stopped at that
I'd have
point.
stopped watching it,
Right, okay.
and I really didn't like Mr. Beast.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
So,
cool.
what was there something that?
So yeah, there's a girl in there, and I tried to remember her number. I don't know if it was 752 or 762.
You're not getting confused with
And
Squid Games, are
she-
you?
And she was a former personal trainer, and she plays a game where they've got a suitcase opposite each other.
Yeah.
They've got two each, and they swap them around
Yeah.
backwards and forwards. And
It was
And-
on the island, wasn't it?
that's right. There's just those two,
Yeah.
and I think it's to win 100 grand or whatever,
Yeah.
or 200.
It's to win the island.
To win the island.
Sorry,
1.8
that's
million.
right. That's right. It's the island, and so he asks the guy what it would mean to him, and then he asks her what it would mean to her. She's crying her eyes out, sobbing a bloody, what it would mean to her family, what she's lost, where she is in her life, what she's trying to do. And he just stood there smiling. He goes, "Huh, that's so cool." And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
She's absolutely in bits.
The problem
And
is,
he just smiled and said, "Oh yeah, that's so cool." And it's like,
the problem is you've no idea if that was taken from a context of something different because of the editing, and I'm a bit I'm not sure if that might have played
it's not
out.
cut. It's not cut. She literally finishes and he cuts over it, and it's like it came across to me that his only interest, which I understand, is the program. He didn't give a shit about her.
The problem is, and so just to flow this out there, you no idea that wasn't a gameplay by her.
She's absolutely sobbing her heart out.
I totally get that, but there's almost an element of him looking to say this could just be a total gameplay by her pulling on heartstrings.
I don't know. She were absolutely sobbing her heart out.
I do remember the bit though. She was.
And bearing in mind, these contests at this point still don't know everything that's in front of them, so they don't know what the backwards and forwards and the changes and all the little tricks and U-turns and what's the word I want to use. Very clever how they do the
Tactics.
that unfold in later stages. And so it's almost, and I just thought she were being so honest and about her feelings and where she is in her life and how hard she's had it, and it was just like he was just wanting to move on and
what I will say,
very impersonal.
Yeah. What I will say, and this isn't, you're absolutely right. I'm not disagreeing with you. I totally see where you're coming from. The only thing that I will say is that is kind of what he's known for. So like he is known for not having much emotion or empathy or his character that he's built over the years.
He's very blasé.
He's that little bit of someone will say something, he'll look at the camera as if to say, "Really?" or
Cool.
move on or next, or like somebody will be out or what his competitions and he'll go, "Oh, you could have won 100 grand. Never mind."
Yeah,
and
it is almost the ruthlessness
I'm not
of the
saying
game.
I'm not saying it's right.
And that's what makes it. It's almost like watching, if you were to watch a film and this is taking place within the film and he's the baddie.
Yeah,
He's the bad guy.
Yeah.
I can't. I couldn't like. Cause I just thought, nah, I can't get on with that.
Yeah. I actually remember the moment so clear because I do remember thinking in that moment, a bit of a weird reaction, but straight away, the editorial side of me goes, that could have been cut from somewhere else. It could have been this, but I think I remember the shot. It was almost like it was a wide shot.
They were both
and she
there
was
no
still
edit.
crying when he said it.
Yeah.
But again, it is almost that ruthlessness of the show, whereby there was very few instances where he ever said, and I think he did do it a couple of times where he kind of went, "Wow." Like it got him a little bit. It got him, but more often than not, it was almost like I can't be like this with one person and not with another. So I've been ruthless throughout the whole thing. I'm not going to crack now. Do you know what I mean? Just because she's crying, because almost like there were a lot of people getting upset at a lot of different points. But the psychology of that show was,
I think it's incredibly clever. I don't know how they would go about doing another season.
I don't.
Although I'm sure that they'll do many more. But the fact of knowing now what would unfold, it would take some serious thought for every contestant not to go at the first round. I'll take that. Because they know that the risk of what they could have had, somebody's just going to take at a later date, or
it's like Big Brother 2 was never as good as Big Brother 1.
That's the thing with programs like this. I say you're never going to replicate the pure thing, But again, I've got to say it. I think the guy is a genius, as in the team. I know it's a team. It's not just him.
Yeah.
I think he's a genius, and I think that
I did think it were. Sorry, I did think it were like. Someone had just let loads of teenagers loose with loads of money in the presenting style. It were almost obviously very professionally done, but very amateur at the same time.
Yeah, but again, that's
bit raw.
That's
That's
just
the
his brand.
YouTube style.
That's just his brand.
That's the YouTube style. For me, sort of going on from what you were just saying about another series or whatever, I've listened to some podcasts with interviews with him since, and how his take is that if they were to ever do it again, it would be different.
They are doing it again.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I wasn't sure if it had been confirmed.
It'd
yet.
have to be different.
But, the main thing is that they what they didn't do or couldn't do because of the contestant numbers. When they started it with 1,000, they weren't able to create stories and delve into the lives of the people that were involved in the game. They started to do that later down the line. He's already said if they did it again, they'd be starting with lesser contestants and making it more about the contestants right from the start, opposed to having this mass of people. I mean, one of the facts of this show was it took them 3 days to unbox the GoPros. For the contestants, because every contestant had a GoPro to film them.
Yeah.
Can you imagine hours-wise of footage? I can't remember what it is. I'm not even going to attempt to make it up. But it's like...
Go on, Rob.
No, I'm not. No. But he did say he got over 25 editors working continuously from the day one of filming, just going through GoPro footage and stuff. So just, the depth of this show.
So I know they were watching stuff, weren't they, to make sure that there was nothing underhand happening.
Yeah.
And that's why they went through some of it and pulled some of the contestants out, didn't they? So look, we caught you cheating at this level. And
I want to talk about the psychology of it before I do. Just in general, Mark, what did you enjoy it then, Mark?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I'm same with you two. I watched it. Weren't expecting much from it when I first started watching it, thinking it'll probably just be, wishy-washy. Might be. I don't like American stuff to start with, but I were pulled in straight away with it. I like the slickness of it. There were no messing around. There was no, this is what's coming up. It were very, very quick and very slick, and I think he is a genius. He's very good at what he does, although he doesn't do much, if you know what I mean. He don't send loads of words, he don't waffle on, but it's very good what he does. And of course, I know there's a team behind it, and I thought it were very, very clever from the offset, and the amounts of money's involved, and it's the psychological side of it. The whole thing of it was very entertaining.
You see, I've been watching Mr. Beast now
sorry. And just commenting on like, can they do it again? It's a bit like Traitors, a completely different type of game. But if you watch the Traitors, you go, how are they going to replicate this? But they're on the third series. I've watched 3 now. It's all very similar, but it's different at the same time.
There's enough difference.
There's enough difference because Traitors is about people, and so this quiz show, this Mr. Beast games, is going to be about people, because people, you can do different games, and people will react differently again. Although they think they know what's coming up, they probably will.
It'll just be bigger.
Yeah,
as in, like the money will be bigger or whatever. So, like you said there, Mark, you know what? If we do it again, then how many people are going to be at the beginning? Sod it, I'm taking that money, because the thing is the carrot at the end will be bigger.
Yeah,
that's the thing. The carrot at the end will be bigger. I've been watching Mr. Beast for about 2 years, and I think he's brilliant. I'm not in the generation of watching YouTube. Not many of us are, apart from Rob, and Mark watching his Disney World tours. But whereas Noah, my youngest, that's what he watches. He watches YouTube like a TV channel.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't. I have something specific, and some of the stuff that Mr. Beast has done in the past, I've thought has been great. However, everything that he's kind of done, even when he did the Squid Games a little bit, it was almost as though you was against yourself. It was just what you could do, or what, how long you could survive in this, or how long you could do this. Whereas what I thought was an absolute genius move, and this is what I'm talking about regarding the psychological aspect, is how much of it was about putting faith in other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And fundamentally, strangers.
Yeah.
That, when you're talking about, like, I thought the most brutal thing was when there was in Rose, I think it was episode 1. And there was
2, I think.
I think it was episode 1. Anyway, there was in Rose on the boxers.
Yeah.
And somebody could accept money.
Yeah.
That would then wipe out
the rest of the
entire
row.
of that row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So not only was you tempted by the money, like you were saying there, Mark, you don't know what else is coming, so you want to stay in the game because you want to experience
You
it.
want more and more bigger money.
And you've got I don't want to accept that if I could get that.
Yeah.
Which I suppose the idea of gambling, I get that. But to be in a situation where you've got all that to make to decide on, but then know that somebody else
Could take it out for you.
Yeah.
could take it away from you,
Yeah.
and not just take it away from you, but then end your game.
Yeah.
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 For me, I thought that was psychological genius.
Yeah.
I can't even begin to imagine how that would feel or what I would do. I watched it and then I watched it again and made Daisy watch it. Yeah, and Daisy enjoyed it as well. But I spent the entire time, like the second time round, me watching it, probably spoilt it for Daisy a bit, going, what would you do at that bit? What would you do at that bit?
Yeah.
Well, do you know?
What would you do at that
Me
bit?
and Ellen had those conversations. What would you do? You know, but it would just, yeah.
I think they've missed a trick as well. In that, and maybe they will. I genuinely believe they could have literally remake that same season, but with psychologists, where it delves into the psychology behind the
What, like they used to
gameplay.
do on Big Brother in first couple of
Yes,
series.
yeah.
Yeah.
The understanding the psychology behind the gameplay, because I would find that so interesting to watch,
yeah.
where professionals and people that really do understand the psychology of human behaviour talking about what's going on at this moment in time through their, because we look at it and go, God, this is mental, but I don't quite know how to process what they're going through. And by having these professionals saying, well, at this moment in time, they're trying to psychoanalyze this. I find that so interesting, and the fact they haven't done it makes me go, "There's
So
a trick there."
I've got two main questions for you, and I know it's hard
Yeah.
when you're not in that situation, but
Yeah.
try and put yourself in the situations where we live our lives how we live now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So two questions. One, if you were up on that gantry
Okay.
with the offer of $1 million,
When it was counting up,
when
to
it was
$1 million.
counting up to $1 million, it got to
Yeah.
$1 million.
Well, I wanted to comment on
and
this.
you
but go
knew
on.
you could press the button, take $1 million, wipe your teammates out, but you
Yeah.
stay in.
Yeah.
So you still in the game. You've got $1 million, but you're wiping out your teammate. Would you have pressed the button?
Yes.
So you're saying yes,
Yes,
straight
straight
away.
away.
I would have. 100%.
Yeah. So I can honestly say that hindsight's a wonderful thing. If I'd known what was coming, yes. However, in that moment, no. I would have been that one thinking, as an idiot, no, I've got all these people counting on me, and I know I would have. I've got all these people counting on me, and then later down the line, when I would have inevitably got cast out, I'd have absolutely kicked myself for not doing it.
I mean, just to clarify, I'm not saying yes because I've seen the rest of the program and thought, I'm not saying. I completely understand what you're saying, but I'm saying yes straight away because I was amazed that none of them did it.
Oh,
I know.
I couldn't.
it's $1 million. It's $1 million.
It's a
guy
lot of money.
The oldish guy with the grey hair.
Yeah.
Who he
Yeah.
actually did. He were actually quite sly, weren't he?
Yeah.
And the fact that he'd played the hero, then lost out and tried to double
cross.
his teammates.
I didn't
and
really
they were
get
like,
that bit when I saw that. Gemma was saying, "Oh," and I was like, well, "I don't really get. He's not doing anything wrong. He's going around asking if people are going to put themselves up on the thing. It didn't make any. It wouldn't have altered the game in any way, shape, or form. He was just asking if they were putting themselves up for it. So I didn't really. I thought he was a bit
But going back to when they were on the platform, like you said, I mean, you've got $1 million. You wipe your team out, but you stay in the game. You still stay in the game, and you get $1 million. I mean, what is the?
For me, it's a no-brainer. Apart from letting down people, I get that, but you're letting
But
down
you don't know.
your contestants.
You're not letting you down your mom and dad and your wife and your kids. You're people that are,
This
you
is the
don't
thing
know.
that I was trying to find out is over what time
Well-
period it was filmed, because I said to Ellen, these people were talking about their teammates as if they've known
Yeah.
each other for 30 years.
it was filmed over. It says a couple of months. So
That's-
it was literally 2 months.
Yeah, and then they were saying, "Oh, and he's my brother," and I'm like, "Hang on a minute."
I think
Because
as
know
well.
each other a day. Oh, that's how it feels.
yeah.
It is very much. I think the Big Brother effect. We used to call it on cruise ships, or we used to say cruise ship goggles, but it's that goldfish tank. You're in each other's company for. Bear in mind what we saw, all those hours and months
Yeah.
outside of
It's
the
been
program that they were
condensed, hasn't it?
spending together,
Yeah.
talking, and they've really got to know each other. Or we've only seen the time they
Yeah.
spent together
On
on set,
Yeah, yeah.
whereas they had lots of time outside of that. Most of
I get
most of it
that.
was filmed
I get
overnight.
Would you have pressed it, Mark?
If I'm honest, I don't know, because it's like you, Rob. Yeah, it's a life-changing sum of money, but it's been in that position where you would either have to have been in the frame of mind from the outset that these affiliations, if you like, with people that you don't know, doesn't matter, and you're just going to play the game and then just take a sum of money once you get to it. Then that's one thing, but I suppose it's seeing the relationships develop, and if you did really get that bond with somebody, knowing what their background might be, that I don't know, because there were all sorts of stories, weren't there? Mm-hmm. Then that takes an emotional toll on you as to, right, hang on a second, if I do this for them, they can't afford to pay their mortgage at the minute, and
I think it's my sorry, Mark. I think it's my naivety that makes me think that if I'm a good person in this game, I might be rewarded later down the line.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point, because what I was going to say is those people that didn't take the $1 million, but what I struggled with then is, with the helicopters coming in, and they were like, "Who's going to go on here?" I thought straight away, these people that saved them. Surely they, but nobody was sort of suggesting that these people should be on. I'd be like, well, they should be on first on the helicopter. I don't understand why they were.
The first person that got picked for that should have gone, right, you on the helicopter. I'm on there anyway.
Exactly.
And all you four that saved them.
Because it should work both ways. If they've saved them by not taking that money, and so therefore they should let them get on the helicopter.
Yeah. But this
and
is
I didn't understand
this is
why.
where it all starts unraveling into.
Yeah, Majority did though, didn't they?
The one where they were in the 10 rooms.
Yeah.
And they got that glass tank. It got $1 million in it or whatever.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
And there was enough for them to take. They could have taken 10% each.
Yeah.
And then that guy in the middle took $500,000 or whatever. And they were like, and then later on they were like, hang on a second, who's took all the rest of it?
That was a big thing for me. That was probably the highlight of the series for me. That moment.
Is this when they came out of the
Yeah,
house?
That's right.
Individualised.
They didn't know how much the next person had taken.
Yeah.
They just knew that there was only so much left.
I mean,
just to give some context, so there was a glass box, wasn't there, with £1 million in it. 10 contestants, each sent off, so they didn't know who was
Into the
going.
little house,
One by one, they had to go up and take an amount of money of their choice. They could take $1 million if they want, or they could take $1.
Yeah.
But they all knew that there was 10 of them. And if they split it equally between them and took 10,000
the first lady,
100.
she took the
100,000,
and she thought that next person would. Yeah. And did next person take a little bit?
He took a little bit more, didn't he?
A little bit more. And then, of course, that middle guy, he just took a ridiculous amount, didn't he?
650,000.
Yeah. He needed.
And then one guy didn't take anything.
The only bit I didn't, because don't get me wrong, again, and I am sitting here going, fair play to him. Fair play to him. He went there to play a game. He went there to win a life-changing amount of money.
He might as well took it all.
He'd got the debt that he'd got. Now, the only thing that I couldn't buy into, if you like, was when he was asked how much his debt were and to clear his debt and everything. I think it comes to like $557,000 or something like that.
530 million.
Million?
Not million.
Thousand.
Sorry, 530,000.
$530,000. So, like, in my head, I instantly thought to myself, right, well, he'll take that amount. And you know what? I don't blame him.
That's exactly what I thought.
So the fact that then he went, so I'm going to take 650. Yeah. I was a bit like, okay.
Well, he might as well have taken all of it. Because what he left behind were pointless to rest room. It's just take it all, mate.
But I must admit, this is where I differ. So if I'd have been up on the gantry offering $1 million, and all it meant were my teammates going home, I'm taking the $1 million. I'm there for a reason. You're only there once. $1 million is a life-changing amount of money for me and my family. My family mean more to me than the contestants.
Yeah, because they can't have that money. And you can't give any.
Yeah, so therefore, bang, and that would have been end of story, and I wouldn't felt bad about it one jot.
I would have felt a little bit bad, but
I wouldn't.
I would have
However, it's weird how I can quite confidently say that that's what I believe I would have done in that situation. However, put me in the situation of the taking the money out of the glass box, because there was only 10 of us.
Yeah,
I'd have done the fair thing and only taken my share.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
I
but
would.
It's weird, isn't it? Because if I'd been offered $1 million up on a gantry or whatever, I'd have took it and that's it. But yeah, if I'd have been first out the house on that box, I could take $1 million. But I could take it, it's there.
Yeah, but
I I'd choose to take the
But,
percent.
but I'd do exactly the same. But what I'm saying is the reason why is that if I'm on this gantry,
It's
I
all or
take
nothing.
It's all or nothing. If I take $1 million,
Yeah,
I'm
true.
not taking that money away from me because they can't have that
Yeah.
money.
Now,
But obviously in the box, I'm taking
It from somebody else.
If I take all of it, they don't even get a share
Yeah.
of it. So I think that's why I
and now
justify
come
it.
back to where I was coming from in terms of the way they've made the show. So this guy does that. The unfair thing, should we say?
Yeah.
Even though he's allowed to do so because that's within the rules, he takes more than what he should do. And the show's maker puts him on a pedestal and lets everyone have a go at him for it.
Mm-hmm.
I just found it.
Well, I think they didn't let him have a go at. They didn't let
They
him.
did. They
let
did.
them have a go at him.
They did.
They basically wanted to let everyone know who'd taken
Absolutely.
the money. And
They want to see the aftermath
But
of what had
that's, yeah,
happened.
but can I just flip it on its head a little
Just
bit?
for television.
Yes, I agree with you. I do agree with you.
Yeah.
But playing devil's advocate a bit, do you not think that you could look at it through a lens of, if you make that decision, then own it? Do you get what I mean? So I get what you mean. That he made that decision. He made that decision to do it. They all could have taken their fair share. They could have all walked away with $100,000 and stuff like that. But do you not think that there could have been an element of that thing of, right, you've made the decision, why should you be able to hide behind that? What do you know what I mean? Own it. If you've made the decision, own it.
On the flip, put him in a situation where you can't walk away from it. You're going to stand there. We're going to make sure that everybody else knows what you've done, and you're going to stand there and take it.
Yeah.
there was
He
one.
could have gone out of there and could have killed himself.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but in that instance, though, he boiled my piss when he not only did he take 650 million, he then
Oh,
Thousand.
grand. He stood in
not like
the-
you to exaggerate.
They got him in a room first, and he proceeded to throw 3 of the other guys under the bus by saying, "You all think these are cohorting. These are here to do this."
that was just making himself feel better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But there was
Defense
a
mechanism.
moment in there which was like, it was an act of kindness to some degree, and it was a really nice moment. And this is where the show had those moments where it wasn't just all greed, and I don't know many of the other words. There was plenty of them of that nature. You know, seeing people
There was deceit, wasn't there?
yeah,
Naivety.
yeah,
Greed, everything really.
Quite-
7 sins, I suppose.
yeah, in bad ways.
Yeah.
But there was one. There was one moment.
Season 2.
There's one moment. Oh, yeah, there were a couple of moments, but one that really stood out for me was the helicopter part, and there was a platform, and 6 people stood on those platforms, and they said, on one group, one woman said, she just came out of it. She didn't even know what the game was. If this is a self-sacrifice, I'm going to go.
Mm-hmm.
I will go. And they didn't even know what it was. And the game was that you had to convince everyone in your group to give you a coin.
Yeah.
And if you got the coin, you were going on that helicopter. And she had no idea, but everyone in that group looked at her and went, "There's my coin." And all 6 people, or 5 people, gave her their coin, which meant she was technically the winner of that group. And she got the coin and walked away thinking she'd self-sacrificed. Got to the helicopter and he went, "Well done." And she looked back at the team as if to say, "Hold on a minute. I was self-sacrificing," and they'd given her the coin for her being the one. And bear in mind, they were all out. Not technically, she could have picked them, but technically they were all out.
And that's one of the things, the deep-rooted thing of why I love the program so much, that you could try and second guess what was going to happen.
Yeah, you'd no chance.
You could try and guess what was going to happen next, or what was the best thing to do, or whatever. You know, do I take? But you just don't. You just don't know.
No, there was
You just don't know.
There was one girl in there who made it quite far to the end, and she pretty much said in one point she was sat up. It was where they had to. There was a spelling contest, and someone said something about how she was going to do it, and she said, "If I can't play with integrity, what's the point in playing?"
Yeah.
And she's
She was
the
a young
one
girl, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she literally went through that game consistently saying the same thing.
Yeah.
If I can't play with integrity, I'm not playing. And it was that point where they were on the towers, all
she went
bartering
out at that
for who
point.
they could give money to, and she just stayed well out of it.
Yeah.
And said, "I'm here if you need me. I'm here if you want to." Give me the money or to help me get through. But other than that, I'm not begging anyone. I'm not playing sides. I'm not playing tricks and games. I'm just going to play with integrity. And she did really well through it.
And to be honest with you, and I'm not just saying it because all of us round this table now we've all got strong morals and we're all good people, but that's exactly how Mark would play it.
Yeah.
Other Mark. I know that I'm a sucker for money. So if I get offered a certain amount of money that I know would change my life, then I would take it. And that's it. That's it. Whereas I think Mark would play it like that young girl.
Yeah.
But no, I would, because I just
Sat in a corner crying.
I do because, and that's why I was very intrigued to see what out of everybody what Mark thought about it, and everything that he's just said today about the program, and we haven't spoke about it beforehand. I'm not surprised one bit.
No.
I'm not. Everything that you just said there about the, you can still appreciate how well it's made. You can still appreciate the entertainment of it, but I knew there was something deep down that knew that you would get to a point where it would be too. What's the word you used it earlier? When you taking advantage of someone, exploiting that it would cross a line, and I'm not surprised whatsoever.
No.
And so there's no right or
Well, I
wrong.
think we
It's an
spoke
opinion,
about
isn't
it weeks ago, and I think I remember saying when I was sat here, I'm really intrigued to know how you, because I felt the same. But for me, the whole thing reminds me of art imitating life. You know, like there's good and bad in everyone, and the way things are playing out, it is literally like life. You know, not everything's fair.
I tell you what, I don't think they spoke about enough.
What's that?
To be honest.
What's that?
And maybe we should have, at the beginning of this episode, said it was a massive spoiler alert for anyone, because I can imagine someone sat there going, "Oh, I'm going to watch that. No need now."
Well, we've not said who's won.
But one thing that I don't think has been spoke about enough.
What's
that?
Well, out of 1,000 people, the last two standing were numbers next to each other.
Yeah, I know.
I
can't remember the actual numbers. I've been racking my brain.
Well, not say the number even if we knew.
Yeah, but the two people left out of 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, some of the games were fate.
Yeah.
Some of it was literally chance.
Yeah.
Some of it was, challenging mental or
Were they
physical.
4, 5, 6 and 4, 5, 7 or something?
Some of that, but the numbers were next to each other. What are the odds of that?
Yeah, and it even showed you at the end of the episode, like in the last episode, it showed you them right at the beginning.
Yes, stood next to each other.
Talking to each other, saying good luck.
Yeah.
And they're the ones, they were the two in the final. It's crazy.
Well, while we talk about contestants, what's your thoughts about the sort of religious guy with beard?
Yeah.
Who were on the podium, who didn't take the $1 million.
Yeah.
But then obviously, because in my mind, he went from like a hero to zero.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I didn't. I mean, I'm not religious,
I didn't like him.
I didn't like him. I didn't like how he was playing the game.
He were a chauvinist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
because
he
he
can play.
played that whole card of I will take equal amount of men and women. I said to Gemma, this is like Noah and the Ark.
Yeah.
I said, and
then he says, I'm going to let God decide in that. I mean, I know he can play the game how he wants.
I'm going to
Of course
let
he
God
can.
decide. And
But-
they were all men.
But I thought he was just talking a load of rubbish.
Yeah.
He were instead of being honest and saying, I'm not going to take any women, I'd rather him say that. I'm not going to take any women. I'm going to do what I want. I'd rather him say that.
Either don't say anything, or
But he was doing all the sort of, well, I'm gonna let God decide, and well, you can't, because you've got to make the decision.
I think again, and I'm not saying this is just money driven, but I do think that I like the way that the entertainment regarding that sort of thing is going along them lines. As in, like, I feel as though when you start talking about certain amounts of money, that there's true jeopardy there, or it means so much. People go out and go on to, I don't know, what's that one with big coins that go on, Tipping Point.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And they go, and all this thing, and oh, you've won $4,000, great. I mean, don't get me wrong, $4,000, fine, great. But do you know what? There's no jeopardy there. There's no. Whereas,
it's like, are you going to stick or are you going to twist? I'm going to twist.
There's no
mate.
real
Like
risk, is
$4
there?
grand.
I'm not just saying it about the Beast Games, because I think Limitless Win does a very similar amount of thing with the Night and Day, and it just gives you that feeling when you're watching it of not knowing, truly not knowing. apart from when they give you teasers at the beginning of the show saying what's coming up in the show, and you're like, you've just spoiled it for me. I don't understand why programs are doing this, but I do like the way that I do think that Beast Games has put a line in the sand a little bit.
Well, and as well,
Absolutely.
bear in mind, Amazon had no idea that the money that was been spent. They had no idea. It was
They just gave him
he had an amount of money.
Unlimited budget, didn't they?
No, well, this is where it's all. No, they didn't give him an unlimited budget. Apparently, they gave him an
700
unlimited amount.
million,
Up to,
weren't it?
No, I don't think it was
I
that
read
much.
that, but
How
I
much
don't know how
how
true
much
that
did he
was.
give away? Do we know?
He
Or you
gave
coming to it?
No, I did know. I can't. I've not got it written
It tells
down.
you at
but
the end,
figures-
doesn't it?
Yeah, but
Is it 20 odd million or something? 22 million that he
Yeah.
gave away.
and only the original
And how mu-
figure was the figure that Amazon gave him to give away. Everything else was his money.
Yeah, I think. Look, I think I get what you're saying, Rob. I do get that, and I know that that's what he is known for.
How much did they pay him though?
I think
He got
that-
nothing. He hasn't earned anything from
Nah,
it.
you
He's-
see that's where
He
I
must
think
have got somewhere.
That's where
No. He genuinely. He's lost.
Rob, listen to me.
Yeah.
Listen to me. Right.
Yeah.
I know that's what you've read.
Yeah.
Right. I know that's what you've read.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't think that that's true.
What?
I don't know.
I don't think it. Look, nobody does anything in life. Or, sorry, that's really general.
What we do this podcast for free.
Yeah.
You know that, don't you?
Yeah. It costs us money. I know that he does give away a lot of his own money.
Yep.
But bear in mind, his own money is money that he's earned from doing what he does.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not as if he was a billionaire and he's just decided to give it away. He's earned money and realised, I'm going back to his early days of YouTube, he's earned money
Yeah.
and then realised that he could get more views by giving some of that money away, which then would return him more money in the long run.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's a bit like these radio stations that give away £450,000 cash giveaway, and everyone's like, oh yeah, well yeah, they're making money off that because it's £2.50 to enter, and they might have 1 million people entering.
Yeah.
So yes, you look great for giving away the 450 grand and crack on, not a problem. You're changing people's
Yeah,
lives.
it's a lottery, innit?
But you can't miss the fact that they're going to make 2.5 million from it. There is no way on God's earth, and I refuse to believe it, and you can sit there and tell me all the facts that you think you've read,
Yeah.
right? But there is no way
Yeah.
that he has shelled out $25 million of his own money, yeah, and walked away from that £25 million poorer.
Well, it doesn't. All it says is he made a loss of tens of millions. Is the loss he made?
I don't believe it.
That's and it's a reason why when you said that season 2's been commissioned, at the minute he's been advised not to do it. They can't afford it. His team can't afford it at the minute.
I think that at the minute,
So
there's
either-
a lot of videos and speculation going around regarding Mr. Beast.
I only heard
and
it
his-
from him
and his money.
It came from him on a podcast episode with
Whereas
Colin and
I've
Samir.
seen him on a podcast and he said that he's been signed up for 3 seasons.
Right. So bear in mind, there's the timescales as well. The podcast episode I listened to could have been 4 months ago. But Colin and Samir, when he was on there, which is a creative podcast, he was telling them that they asked him if there's going to be a future series. He said, I want to do a future. I absolutely want to. He said, I'm being advised not to because we lost tens of millions. And they laughed. He went, I'm not joking. We lost tens of millions on that show because it's my fault. I didn't know where the line was. I just kept putting more money in. I kept doing bigger things, bigger this. But on the hindsight, it will probably get us a second season, and hopefully I'll have better people that advise me better. Is basically how he worded it.
Well, I'll do a bit more digging because I don't believe that he did
yeah.
it for nothing.
Can we talk about the sort of all these Guinness World Records that he broke? Apparently, didn't he?
Yeah, loads.
I mean, there
44.
were 44.
Is that how many?
I mean,
44.
some of them are a bit silly, like, but I mean, that's a lot of
So
records to break.
largest physical cash prize on set, which was 5 million. That what you saw that he was stood on was actually
I mean, that's
5
crazy.
million.
money, yeah.
Real 5 million in real money. Most prize money turned down on a competitive reality TV show, 1 million. Largest prize fund awarded for a competitive reality show. I don't want to spoil it in case people have not watched it.
Yeah, don't spoil it.
Yeah.
Most money won in a single episode on a competitive reality TV show, 2,020,000. and there's only a few, obviously. Largest reality competitive show was 1,000 contestants. No, they've never had that
and
many.
And then there's
contestants.
all this camera stuff that we talked about earlier. All these
most amount of cameras on set, and
yeah,
most amount of hours recorded for a show. There's 44.
So,
but
So if there is a second season, we're all watching it apart from other Mark.
Yeah, I won't watch it again.
I mean, I can't wait for it, to be fair.
Yeah, I know, me too.
But this one was number one in 80 countries. Just through halfway through the season, it was 80 countries, and it had over 50 million views in 25 days, which I actually thought was actually quite poor, if I'm honest. But it's been superseded since then by Lord of the Rings.
What I do find with Mr. Beast, though, I mean, what's his name?
Jim Donaldson.
Jimmy Donaldson. He smiles a bit. He smiles a bit weird for me because he smiles a bit funny, doesn't he? Everyone,
Yes.
He sort of goes. It's a bit.
It's almost forced.
Yeah, I mean, he's not, but he's just got.
He struggled with illness all his life.
It's just it's a strange smile he's got.
So he struggled with illness all his life. He was quite ill as a boy.
Yeah, he's got
Crohn's disease and something else.
Really?
Yeah.
So I know he has struggled with his health for most of his life and stuff.
And how old is he? He's only young,
Is
isn't
he
he?
26?
I don't know.
I think he's about 26. So this whole thing actually got me thinking, and I think it was around about the second to last episode.
We're going to do our own Beast Games.
Yes.
What?
I ain't got that kind of money.
Hang on a minute. He'll take money straight away, Kirk.
So I had this idea.
I mean, first game, a pound. Kirk, Buzz, I'm taking it. Game over.
So I had this idea. It's absolutely, it's not even achievable, right? But this was the idea that I had, right?
Okay.
And it compared to Beast Games, it's not even the same thing. But I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could test our own listeners' integrity, right? And the way that it would work, if we had the means to do this, it's a measly amount of money, £100. Mm-hmm. If we could have a sponsor and we could have more money, then it would be more. But £100, and we put it in a bank account, right?
Yep.
Now it doesn't quite work like this, I understand, but just hear me out just for the sake of it. But we then gave all our listeners on an episode the account number, sort code, and name of the account, in order that if they could access that, they could remove money from it. No, they can't do that because you have to own the bank account or whatever. But if they could, and we then say to that money's going to be in that bank account for 1 month. You can take from it as much or as little as you want, or none. But at the end of the month, whatever's left in that bank account will go to charity. How much money would actually get taken from that bank account?
All of it.
Do you reckon?
You reckon?
Well, we've only got one listener, so he'd be taking it straight out. So
But seriously, I think I'd love to see
Do you know
what
Rob?
actually happened.
I think you've got something there. I reckon we could sort that.
I
don't know how. It's the spending of it that's the problem.
It's people being able to access the money, but it's £100, so it's not an awful lot of money. But the goal, what he's telling everyone is the moral dilemma is if you leave this money in there, it's going to go to charity.
You reckon it'll go?
Are they? When the money goes, would it be anonymous?
I think it'd have to be.
I think I'd want it to be.
Well,
but
if
then
it's
again,
anonymous, then
then
somebody will take it. And then
yeah, but actually, if you were to play it by the rules of Beast Games, no, you wouldn't be anonymous. No, you wouldn't. You'd know. That would be a caveat. We'll say who's took the money, or we'll say who's took what amount of money.
Yeah.
You know, so because the program's not anonymous that you're watching. You can see who's taking it.
I do like the idea.
And it just poses this moral dilemma of the money's there.
Yeah.
We're saying you can take it if you want it, but whatever's left will go to charity. We're not going to gain from it. It'll go to charity, so you're only taking from charity.
In all fairness, if we were if it was going to be something that wasn't anonymous, then it wouldn't have to be a case of. It'd be a case of, right, we've got £100. Anyone wants any of it? Email us. And we'll transfer it to your bank. But then we're gonna
we'll name and shame you.
We'll not shame.
We're taking the money
on who it is and who's took it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the month, if whatever's left out of that £100, we'll give to charity.
And someone might say, look, I want £5 because I want to do this with it, or they could tell us what they want to do with it. But it's just that what would the result be? And I'm intrigued to know.
Let's have a think.
We'll have a think.
I think
and
you need
get
to
back
sleep on it and realise what a stupid idea it is.
Yeah.
Time at the bar, please.
Well, if it's your £100, Rob, then we all.
Well, exactly.
If you do like I know it's not to the scale of Beast Games or anything like that. But if you can cope with watching, can you cope with watching dubbed things on
I can.
Netflix and Amazon
Yeah,
Prime
yeah.
and stuff? So there's a game show on there called The Devil's Plan on Netflix.
All right.
That's brilliant. It's not to the scale of Beast Games, don't get me wrong, but again, the idea of the game show. So basically, they've got I can't remember how many people. There's quite a few people in a house together, but they're all so like one of them is like a chess champion, I think. Another one is like from Mensa. Another one's like a surgeon, a doctor.
I think I've
another
heard
one's
about this, yeah.
You know, but I think it's Korean, and basically they all live in this house, but then they get given games to do, but like games that are they take some strategy and like mindset games and stuff. Really good. It's really worth a watch if you do like that sort of setup. If you like.
I'd like that.
Like I say, it's not nowhere near to the scale.
Is
of
there,
these
is there
games,
another one on Netflix called The Lift or Lift?
Oh, you're thinking about when they're sort of like in a hotel, they're in a basement in a
Yeah.
top room. Is
I
that
don't
what
know,
it's
but
Rise,
Rise?
the one that I nearly applied for,
Oh, it
the
might
British
be.
one.
Is it where they live in penthouse and they live in basement?
No,
Okay,
no.
not that one then.
And I don't. Someone mentioned it at work, and I'm thinking,
I like that.
Is it a game show or actually is it a TV series? But it was just, I think it's called Lift. I don't know. Ignore me.
Anyway, speaking of games,
Shall we spin the wheel?
Let's spin it.
Let's
The real
spin
one.
the
let's
new
spin that
wheel.
real lovely wheel.
Here we go. Oh, it's spinning. What's it gonna be? Oh, I'm just so excited. Come on. He's nearly there.
The Wheel of Features.
Who's spinning it then?
You.
Me?
Because you spin it.
All right. I'm taking my microphone.
Always roving.
Right, are you ready? I'm just very excited. We've got an actual wheel. This is amazing. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you going to switch the lights on?
No. Why did you have to say that? I'm just ready to
spin
spin
the
it.
wheel.
Ready? Here we go.
What's he gonna be?
What's it going to land on? What's it going to be?
Hey! Jukebox Jam, it's mine!
Yay!
Song downloading. Complete. Lyric analysis. Complete. AI jukebox jam.
Connection lost.
You all know how this one works by now. AI Jukebox Jam.
Can you make sure it's right this time?
I'll try my very best.
Okay.
Okay, so I've given AI a song and asked it to give us the meaning of that song. You've got to reverse engineer to find out what it is. So, something reflects on the struggles, regrets, and consequences of a life immersed in crime, poverty, and survival, questioning its worth.
Ooh, that's an interesting one, Ron.
I'll give it you again. Something reflects on the struggles, regrets, and consequences of a life immersed in crime, poverty, and survival, questioning its worth. I can't seem to
is
say
this a song?
questioning. Yes.
Yeah. I never know if it's a song. I never know if it's a
Jukebox Jam.
Smooth Criminal. That's my guess.
All right. Good. Well done, Mark.
It's not a bad guess, though.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I had one that came straight to me and then left me straight away after. As you were reading it, I was thinking, yes, this sounds familiar, this.
Kirk? I realised that some of the other ones have been quite similar, so I really changed tact on this.
I don't know.
No?
I'm going to throw a curveball out there.
Okay.
And go for Gypsies, Tramps and Thieves.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Good one.
Good track.
I'm not revealing if anyone's right. I'll let you know next week.
Fab.
Have a good week, boys.
See you next
See you
week.
later.
boys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for your continued support with our independent podcast. Did you know that you can interact with us and other listeners on Facebook, on the Chat In Tap Room Facebook group? You can also get in touch via email, innthechat@gmail.com, and of course on any of our socials. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.